So we got an article that was posted 2 days ago, and this article was posted by Nico. Now this article is going to be going over why a lot of people in the community is regretting getting Calcharo or Calcharo, however you want to pronounce his name. They're regretting getting him in the game because he's not doing a lot of damage or he feels clunky. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So the first session of this whole entire article here is going to be going over Calcharo Games giving us tons of freebies, which is going to follow up, well, into this video here. So we got tons of freebies. We got Radiant Tide, and they gave us a free 5-star selector. And I kind of want to know which character you guys happen to pick with your 5-star selector. But yes, a lot of people who pick Calcharo isn't happy. They're upset. They are disappointed. They do not like how Calcharo played. They do not like his damage. So they're upset, and they wish they had picked somebody else instead of Calcharo. Now, although he starts off pretty strong in early game, which is very true, till to this day, Calcharo starts off pretty strong in this game. Still one of the best few characters that start off pretty strong. Many of the criticisms surrounding Calcharo starts to pop up once you reach later in-game content, which we're going to talk about in a second. Calcharo's significant shortcoming, according to a few players' complaints, which is going to be a Reddit post, which we'll talk about later in a second because I got something I want to say about it specifically, is that his mechanics is relatively clunkier than other damage dealing characters like Jinshi and Jiyan. Plus, the highly touted Calcharo Yinlin combo is no longer good. As it once was, as other main DPS characters could utilize Yinlin's skill set so much better. Now, I found this last part of the second part here of this article kind of funny. You're saying to me Calcharo and Yinlin is no longer a team or a combo that any player should do because it's no longer good as it once was. So if this Calcharo player literally do not have Jinshi or Jiyan, you're saying to me that his best team with Yinlin just automatically suck now, all because of another DPS character drop and other DPS character can utilize it way better. To me, this makes little to no sense because this article or whoever posted it didn't go into depth about like really why it's not good. All he just said was yeah, because another DPS character dropped. So he completely ignored the good and bad about all of this. But since he only mentioned really like the bad, I'm gonna mention some good about why Calcharo and Yinlin is still literally like the top fifth best team in the whole entire game still. Literally, you wanna know what Yinlin does with her intro skill, I believe? Well, her outro. Literally, her outro skill is going to be giving you a liberation amplified damage. So she's going to be buffing Calcharo or Calcharo like liberation buff. And, right? Not buff, damage. And she's going to be giving Calcharo electro damage. There's no other character in-game at the moment. No other electro character in-game. Not Yanwu. No other electro character that gives literally electro buff at the moment. And we won't even know. I don't even know about 1.2 characters at the moment. At the time of recording this. So, literally, Yinlin is Calcharo's best pick. Yinlin, this combo is still good as ever. It's still pretty good. Like, I do not understand what this article is trying to get at, and I do not understand why this article is trying to write off Calcharo and Yinlin as a bad team combo and write off Calcharo completely. Calcharo is still a pretty good character. Yes, maybe his damage is not good. Maybe his animation isn't the best, but please understand. Literally, to me, Calcharo is like an A tier, like sort of character. He's still not bad, and I don't even have Calcharo. I just understand that Calcharo is just not really that bad. He's not the best in the world. He's not perfect like Jinshi maybe, but literally, Calcharo is still a pretty good character. So I kind of want to ease some of that worry off of you guys who are maining Calcharo and who are using Calcharo. But I do understand, like I said, Calcharo has some ups and downs because he has, clunky animations. Maybe he's too slow to pull off his skill sets or whatever, and just so much investment. But literally, Calcharo is just a technical character like any other character like Jinshi. Jinshi is also a very technical character. There's just some things you're not going to be able to pull off all the time, just like Calcharo. Understand that. A lot of things just might be a skill issue. I'm just playing. It's not a skill issue, but I just want to say it because it just sounds funny. So, these major weaknesses have led up to most players recommending against using Calcharo as your 5-star selector to get. Though, of course, with the game meta continuing to change, he could eventually see enough buff to return him into one of Wuthering Wave's premier damage dealers. After all, the developer team has since improved the game even more, though recent patches by addressing its moderate performance and localization issues. And this upward trend should continue with the game in its end. And this trend should just continue with the game entirely. And this is like the last part I just want to talk about for this article here, because I'm not going to read the rest of it because they just kind of get like sidetracked and just talk about whatever else and not on main topic, talking about why you should not pick Calcharo as your main 5-star selector or whatever. So literally this part right here, I do agree with the fact that maybe eventually there's going to be maybe characters that release in the future that could buff Calcharo in a way and make him a pretty good damage dealer still to maintain his spot in the community. I do agree with that. I don't think not a single soul disagree with that. And if you do, I would like to hear it down below on why you might disagree with that. But yes, Calcharo do have some weaknesses as well, as I heard, as one, too much investment, two, literally some animation problems. He's just too slow to pull off his skill, just like any other character. And I understand Calcharo got some ups and downs, but this last post right here, whole entire section right here just got off sidetrack. So literally for future reasons, just criticism, by the way, I'm not hating. Criticism, let's just stay on track a bit, because there's just no reason we should be talking about performance or localization issues on why you should be picking Calcharo as your 5-star selector here. So we're going to be finally talking about the Reddit post here, which they was talking about in the article, which they were saying Reddit players were just completely disappointed about Calcharo and do not pick him. Which this post about Supreme Owl, do you regret your choice with the 5-star selector? Which, by the way, do not attack this Reddit user. He is in all rights to feel the way he feel about Calcharo now, because I do understand. I think he's completely right about the way he feel. So I choose Calcharo because he's sick, and for the first few hours he was fine, which is very true. I can understand he's probably talking about like early in the game, but fast forward to now, and whoa, he's just so clunky. His damage is meh for how much work you have to do with him, and you have to do 3 slow E animations, which I was just talking about early. For some reason, they all have small cooldowns on each stage, which is a huge issue, because even then, it's kind of similar to like Jinshi in a way. Like sometimes you might pull off your nuke damage and somehow you're still stuck in like cooldown a little bit. It's kind of like there with some characters as well. So I do understand that it's a problem when you're trying to pull off damage as consistently, as fast as possible as you can. So yes, I do understand that. He's completely right about this. But let's keep continuing. So you get pretty much easily interrupted during his NA string, where you have to start all over again, which I've actually kind of encountered that a couple of times when I used to play other characters. But I do encounter that here and there with Jinshi a little bit, where I do try to do my basic attack so I can get into incarnation or airborne mode with Jinshi. But at some point, like a small little hit or something just randomly stops me, and then I have to like repeat that whole process again just to get into incarnation mode, or I just have to dodge an enemy attack. Especially if you're doing hologram, it's going to be like that consistently. So yeah, it's very understandable, but it's kind of like that with most characters in the game. Because whatever you're doing, it just depends on what you're doing, really. Most characters will kind of have to repeat their whole entire combo over again, depending on what enemy you're fighting. So, yeah. He also said he recently got Jinshi, and the game became so much more enjoyable to play. I also realized subconsciously using my other members on the team instead of Calcharo most of the time. So, this last part of this Reddit post here, I kind of want to talk about. So, he is saying that he got Jinshi, right? He enjoys Jinshi a bit more, or maybe he or she. They're saying that they're using, like, you know, Jinshi pretty often, right? As a Jinshi player myself, you do have to use coordinated attackers, so I don't really see that a little bit, because you still have to pretty much use your other characters like Mortifi and Verena still. Verena got the fastest rotation in the game, so I can understand with Verena that you're gonna be like using her a bit less, like less screen time with Verena. But Mortifi and other characters like Yanwu, you might stay on the field a bit longer, unless you're just gonna pop Yanwu E and just leave his like little pole or totem or whatever down on the ground, so like Jinshi could utilize his skill, because Jinshi need coordinated attackers just to build up her forte. So there are just times where you have to literally hop off Jinshi, just use other characters just to like build up her forte, and it's gonna be a consistently rotation like that with Jinshi. So it's still kind of the same with Jinshi. Like, of course he's saying like, oh, I use my other team members a lot instead of Calcharo. It's still kind of the same with Jinshi in a way. But in the end, I truly do think Calcharo is still like a pretty good character. I do acknowledge that he has some issues, so it's not going to make him easily like an S tier character or anything like that, or maybe he just don't have good damage like Jinshi will be able to pull off. So I do truly understand that. But I made this video because I don't like I don't like the idea. I just don't understand why people are trying to say that Calcharo is probably one of the worst characters in the game when he's literally not. I just don't understand it. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think Calcharo is one of the worst few characters in the game? Do you disagree with my opinion? Do you agree with what I have said in this video? Let me know. I'll see you guys in another video soon.